Ian, you weren't on the podcast when the initial reaction to our pal Felix PewDiePie came down.
But I did come back like the podcast after because I got to give my impressions and people,
You did
launched right into me.
after they barbecued me for a couple of weeks.
And then I got a taste of that too.
Yeah, that was. I think you can only say they everyone likes you, Pat. They all hate me.
Crispy skin.
But what happened was, he had a string of anti-Semitic humor, Nazi jokes. The Wall Street Journal posted about it. Might have helped start the apocalypse, along with a couple other little things. And then we're still suffering from the fallout of that. With
People
the
felt the need to defend him.
Sure. So what happened recently? So there was a live stream where he was playing a third-person shooter game. What was it called? Player Unknown's Battlegrounds multiplayer survival shooter. No idea what that is.
That's the game that Norm and I keep trying to get you to play.
Oh, is that, you said it's like a new version of Rainbow Six, basically?
No, it's like Battle Royale.
Oh, well, maybe we can play it with Felix because then he can call us the N-word while we're playing.
Yeah, and boy, did it come out of his mouth so smooth, like a number 4 on the Bristol scale. like he says it every day.
Well, that's what I think what's kind of surprising, not surprising about it, because he's a edgy guy, and I use that loosely, but that's his humor. But what's interesting is that when people are trying to defend him, there's like, oh, it was a heated gaming moment. No, it wasn't. It was as heated as me playing a game of Snake on my graphing calculator in high school.
Yeah. Yep.
That's about as heated as it got.
Also, heated gaming moment is one of the stupidest fucking phrases I've ever heard. Heated gaming moment. I've yelled a lot of things during heated gaming moments. I've never felt the need to yell a racial slur.
I think that's the other weird part about it is that when people are jumping to defend Felix, and Felix actually apologized. Hey, we're going to get into it. Good that he did that because he was very defiant about. The Hitler did nothing wrong jokes and the death to all Jews jokes and things like that. He was like, oh, I'm just an artist. I'm a performer, entertainer. This, though, I think, to a lot of people, even crossed that line. People that were willing to defend him before. Not everyone, but even some are like, okay, this is a little much now. Because, again, this wasn't him trying to do some sort of elaborate Fiverr joke where he pays someone to see how far they're going to go, even though the joke was really stupid. And you can do a lot of other things instead of that joke to make the same fucking point. This was just, like you said, casually comes out of his mouth like he's talking about peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yep.
And that, to me, is sort of what I think really hit people. It's like, oh, this is that casual racism people talk about that we think is just a catchphrase. This is what it is.
Right.
So I think that's what hit home for more people.
Problematically, I think, too, is that people are like, well, it's just a word. It's just an insult. Or he didn't mean it that way. It was just, a heated gaming moment, and it slipped out of his mouth as an insult. He didn't mean it because, he doesn't like black people or this or that. And it's like, think for 2 seconds about what you're fucking saying. And I'm not even talking about Felix. I'm thinking about the people who are defending him. If you say something as an insult, then that means you think there's a negative connotation to that word.
Or you know what that connotation is. You know the meaning of it.
That's immediately immediately that argument is shot. It's defenseless. It's like, and I used to fucking go off on people in high school all the time for this. It was like when people would use derogatory terms for gay people. Oh, well, I just use that word because, it's just an insult. It's a word that sounds, impactful and, it gets across a meaning. And it's like, but why is that an insult? Why is that a powerful word to you? Because you know what it means, and you know it's offensive, and you know it hurts other people.
Yeah, I think obviously the term he used is so harsh because it conjures up so much at one time.
Oh, it conjures up fucking...
It conjures up the history of slavery.
A history of...
the Civil War, Jim Crow, what was it, 20,000 lynchings that went on over a 40, 50 year period in this country.
Lynching?
We're talking lawless lynchings where that was screamed at people that were either burned alive in the United States. This isn't a foreign country, or just lynched en masse without any justice to be done to those people that did that. So there's a lot more to this word than I would argue a lot of other racial slurs, other ethnic slurs,
or any,
especially at least in this country. At least in this country, like, he's not American, which I brought up before. Maybe a little sloppily, that maybe where he's from in Sweden, there's a different history of racial terms. Doesn't excuse it. But I'm just saying that's a possibility. I'm going to say this though, before we get to his apology, and I'll say this to anyone defending that word: if you can defend the use of that word so easily, feel free to say it around African Americans in the future.
Yep, give it a shot.
Give it a shot. If you think it's harmless and you think it's just a word, go ahead and use it. Go ahead.
And I want to make this argument because I thought this argument was fucking great. And it's not mine. I wish I could credit whoever I saw making it on Twitter, but it was, if you think it's just a word and that people need to not be upset about it, then when we call you racist for using it, well, then racist is just a word, and you need to not get upset about that, and you need to not defend yourself and get all up in arms about us calling you racist. It's just a word.
The best probably slam I saw about this was that, I guess, journalist Ian Miles Chong.
He's a fucking piece of shit.
Okay,
if I could...
Ian? The best response I said when he said, Felix using, I don't want to paraphrase him, but he basically said, Felix using the N-word, and that was what he typed out, N-word is not a big deal, you have to get over it. And someone responded, if it's not a big deal, why did you use the quote N-word and not use the full word itself?
Because he's a fucking piece of shit.
No, because he knows it's wrong.
I know. Exactly. Because he's a fucking coward, and he's constantly...
He knows it's wrong, too, and he's dying on a really bad hill.
He's constantly dying on a bad hill.
It's an awful hill to die on. And again, this isn't someone that's an actor in a movie. This is someone whose audience is younger people and children. PewDiePie. And that was always my biggest issue with it, is that it's the whole, like you said, people going to high school used to use different terms when we were in high school that we grew up and got over with. To make this acceptable to me is kind of disgusting. So before we get into his apology, I was going to say I would have given his apology a lot more credit, and he said the right things in the apology. He said I should do better. People look at me. I'm on YouTube. This is maybe
I haven't learned from my past mistakes.
He said it's not that I think I can say or do whatever I want and get away with it. That's not it at all. I'm just an idiot. So I do agree you are an idiot to some extent. I will agree with you there. But I think you can get away with it at this point. Just because you're a multimillionaire, if you left YouTube tomorrow, it wouldn't matter. But he at least appeared, at least to me, he appeared sorry, like honestly sorry. But the problem is the damage has been done by him. Because when Charlottesville happened, the fucking tweet I saw was when it showed all those assholes with the tiki torches marching. All the alt-right, fucking supremacist, Pepe prick-sucking son of a bitches. His response was...
They must have watched too many PewDiePie videos.
Oh, Felix, you sure got your fucking thumb on the pulse of what the criticism was of you. Now, no one ever said your videos made people racist or made them white supremacists or made them alt-right. What we were saying is, congratulations, you became the favorite YouTuber of the alt-rights and the white supremacists and the fucking Pepe prick suckers. You did, buddy. Whether or not you wanted that to happen, you made it happen.
As far as his apology goes, and no offense, Pat, I gotta say this. Fuck his apology. He didn't say the right things. He said the things he needed to say to save any semblance of any career he might ever fucking have again.
Maybe this was his tipping point, though. Some people have to hit rock bottom. I'm just gonna say, I don't know what's in his heart.
I don't think he has a rock bottom.
Everyone does, Ian.
Okay, sure. Everyone has a rock bottom.
He's a young guy still. There, you know, from what people say, he is one of these like sort of introverted guys. And I meet these guys now. I know these YouTubers. They get fame way too young.
Sure.
They get money way too young, and they don't know how to handle it. They don't have the time to grow up.
You don't go from making a comment like that Charleston comment fucking a month ago to this.
Well, that's what I mean. That's where I'm saying that he still has something to learn. But maybe something like this hits it home for, holy shit, what am I doing?
You don't smoothly shit the N-word out of your mouth like that and then suddenly have a fucking change of heart in 3 days.
I just wish, though, that he moderated his goddamn comments, or at least in his apology, didn't allow comments, because you saw some pretty fucking nasty replies to his even apology. And you saw what sort of fans and people he's attracting. Let's just say that he attracted with his brand of humor. So whether or not, buddy, whether or not you're proud of it now, you got to fucking own it, because this is your legacy at this point in time. Not saying you can't turn around, not saying you can't get better, but this is when I was getting on you for you stirring the pot like you were. You got to realize what the ramifications are versus just, I'm just entertainer and comedian. And again, this isn't a free speech issue. You can say whatever the fuck you want. You can go and play all your games and say any racial slurs you want, but now you got to own up to it, what you are, what you've the fan base and community you have, and going forward, what are you going to be like? What are you going to stand up for?
It's almost like we were right about him all along.
Yeah, so anyone that came after me back then, like I'm the bad guy, I couldn't see into his heart a little bit, I think I was on the money a little bit, at least a little bit of his immaturity and not knowing what the ramifications of what he was doing were on his fucking 12-year-old audience. They're not all 12-year-olds. No, they're not all 12-year-olds. They're 14 and 15.
His heart's a fucking sewage pump.
So this leads, though, to the ramifications. DMCA being done by Campo Santo co-founder Sean Vanneman.
Firewatch.
The Firewatch developer, he tweeted that they were going to do DMCA takedown requests to remove all videos of PewDiePie playing his company's title. He tweeted, I'm sick of this child getting more and more chances to make money off of what we make. And he said PewDiePie is worse than a closeted racist. He's a propagator of despicable garbage that does real damage to the culture around this industry. That's the other point about what this does to gaming culture. Like this is the worst of gaming culture. This is the 12-year-old Xbox live kiddies playing Call of Duty. And you hear the clips. When people try to troll these little kids, they go right to the racial slurs. They go right to the homophobic name calling and things like that. And this is, again, this is the face of YouTube. So I saw Jim Sterling talk about this a little bit about he's officially a liability, like to all of YouTubers. And you can say whether or not it's justified or not, but we are where we are. He accelerated all the quote-unquote adpocalypse turmoil because if I'm an advertiser, I don't want my shit in front of this asshole.
No.
I don't want my games in front of him. But now we're in a weird state now where he's now causing a game developer to file a DMCA against a YouTuber. And this now brings us into shady sort of legal territory because there's no legal precedent for whether or not a Let's Play is fair use or not.
Exactly.
In my opinion, I would say this, and this might be where it ends up in court eventually. It might be like with the review, how much of the game are you showing, the length of what you're showing, the extent of it.
Is it transformative?
So maybe you do a Let's Play for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you edit it up, and maybe that's okay. But if you're most Let's Players and you fucking do a 10-hour Let's Play of the entire game, maybe that's not okay. The whole point is that we have no legal precedent. There's been no rulings about it. And I think both sides are afraid to get to that point because you're going to have the one side where the developers love the free publicity. They love that these guys do Let's Plays and sell them games. On the other side, you have YouTubers, Let's Players probably scared to death if it comes down that Let's Plays are not legal in terms of fair use. So that sort of bridge hasn't been crossed yet. But if
we're getting closer.
Well, if a bunch of other developers decide certain YouTubers like him, they don't want to be represented or have their product shown in that light, we're going to get to court more sooner than later.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to end up. I don't know how that ramification is going to be because that might then take out a whole fucking genre of videos. It might impact Twitch even in terms of legality where maybe most developers still don't care about their stuff getting Let's Played, but then if one certain developer says fuck you, I don't want you playing it, they're going to have no legal recourse once they yank it away.
Right.
So YouTube, huh? It's all fun and games.
Yeah.
Until someone irresponsible doesn't know to keep his mouth fucking shut.